As I reflect on it more and more over the years, I'm convinced that the great opportunity of being in this world as a human being is to experience emotions. In Latter-day Saint theology, we talk about how we came to this world to get a body. And yes, that's part of it. But we need to ask some more questions around that and analyze what having a body does for us. When I imagine what it's going to be like when I die, when I don't have my body anymore, I imagine things that I won't be able to do. I suspect we won't be able to taste, and I won't be able to physically feel things like the roughness of a texture of a rock. I won't be able to pick up a rock, for example. I won't be able to drink a glass of water after I die. For some reason, we're under the impression that we can hear and that we can see. That may or may not be the case, but the physical body must be capable of many things that a spirit on its own is not capable of. So I think sight must be very different. Hearing must be very different. But there's one major thing that we often overlook, and I believe that's of emotions. Our emotions are created by our human brain when we have a thought about something. That's why when you are watching a movie that is intended to be dramatic and portray something sad, your brain has thoughts about it, and you will cry if you think about it in a way that would make you cry. Movies that are intended to show very traumatic things happening, such as in war, we're going to have certain emotions around that as we see on the screen what's going on, and then we formulate a thought about what we're seeing, and that will produce an emotion for us. So that's an example of demonstrating how our thoughts are creating our feelings. You watch a movie that's intended to be funny, you're likely to have thoughts that produce emotions of humor and laughter. If you're watching something that's very thrilling, adventurous, get your heart pumping, you're kind of sitting on the edge of your seat, that's all because of what we're thinking about. If someone were to be telling us a story, for example, reading us a book, so we don't even have to be watching anything about this, we could be reading about it. It creates the same thing. Our thoughts create our emotions, not actual events that are happening. It's never been that way, and it can't be that way. So, when I think about what earthly experience has to offer, I think the greatest opportunity here is how we're going to be able to feel all the different spectrum of emotions, the kaleidoscope of feelings that are available to us. And what an amazing smorgasbord of emotions are before us. Just living life puts us in a position to have so many different thoughts about what we're going through, what's going on around us, and we feel so many different ways. I think often we're afraid of what we're feeling, and we try to run away from it to some extent. That definitely happens. But I think as we get better at noticing our feelings and even documenting our feelings and better understanding what's going on, we start to realize that we really are capable of experiencing any emotion. Our emotions actually won't kill us. We can experience great loss. We can experience great highs and excitement, surprise, and we can handle all of it. But ultimately, I think what we fear is how something is going to make us feel. And the reason why we want to do things in life, the reason why we make certain decisions, is because of how we think it's going to make us feel. And often when we make decisions, we make them because of wanting to avoid feeling a certain way, rather than necessarily wanting to feel a certain way. Now, it's really common when people learn that their thoughts are creating their emotions, that they immediately want to jump right into the idea of, okay, let's hurry up and change this. I'm feeling something, I'm not really liking it, I need to change it right this second. And that's not necessarily going to serve us right away. Our body that we've been given needs to be able to process things, process what's happened to us, process what we're thinking about, process what's going on in the world that's proximal to us, and putting us in a position to have the thoughts we're having and the emotions that we're having. So think of emotions like a vibration in your body. It's kind of like a rainstorm that needs to happen, a windstorm, a wave in the ocean that needs to pass over you and go over you and go through you. It's important that we stay with this initially, just let it happen. We're not supposed to avoid our emotions. That's not why we're here. We're here in this world to experience emotions. And things that we don't necessarily want to feel really aren't that bad. Sadness isn't going to kill us. The feeling of loss isn't going to kill us. We can do that, but we often want to run away from it. So just imagine yourself standing in a rainstorm in really nice clothes, and you spend a lot of time on your hair, and you're just looking really nice. But this rainstorm comes, and you're kind of afraid of it because you're afraid of what it's going to do to you, appearance-wise. But just stand there and let it happen. Just let the emotion be. Let the rainstorm occur. Let it drench you head to foot, and just experience the wonder of what that is. Just let it be what it is. And when it's emotion that's more playful, let that be as well. Just soak it in. Let it happen. As we learn to stay with and be with our emotions and let them work through us, we can learn to be a little more intentional about what we want to feel and what we want to think. So there's no need to be in a rush about moving on to the next emotion. And sometimes we just want to have stillness. We need stillness. It seems very plain to me that the great opportunity of coming to Earth is to experience emotion. The relationships in our lives give us that opportunity. Personal development, learning, educating ourselves, the different phases of our lives. It's quite fascinating. And just think, the individuals that chose not to come to earth in the context of Latter-day Saint theology, they were cast out of heaven. They are not experiencing emotions like we are, among many other things. I'm glad we have this opportunity. That's it for now.